As far as injuries are concerned, Akella Witherspoon, Bobby Brown, Alaric Jackson, and Justin Dedich will be listed as questionable. Don't expect all of them to play, except for.
With Bobby expected to play, especially in this matchup against this run game, what has he meant to this defense this year?
He's meant a lot. He's obviously a big, sturdy player inside. It's going to be incredibly important for him to be productive, as well as the rest of the guys that he's playing alongside. We'll need him at his best for us to give ourselves a chance. But he's meant a lot. He's done an excellent job. Been really proud of Bobby.
Sean, Jared made some pointed comments just kind of about his feelings about Eagles fans. I know he's a vocal player, but how do you respond to that? Just let him do it.
Yeah, he told his truth, and so I'm riding with the Rams.
Coach, since week 12, how much have you seen your defense run?
I think there's just been a sense of urgency. I think, like I've talked about all week, I think humbling experiences with the right kinds of people can really provide the truest growth opportunities. And so, tremendous credit to Giff Smith, AC Carter, Joe Caniglio. When you just look at what we could have done better, first and foremost, starting out, myself, us as coaches, all right, let's put guys in the right spots, and then let's play the techniques and the fundamentals, and then let's also respect, why they are as good as they are and what's going to be required for us to be able to compete at the highest of levels. And I think there's been an intentionality with practice, the approach, the preparation, and then ultimately when we've gotten a chance to compete in these games. But, it's all about how we play. That game doesn't have anything to do with now, what's going to take place on Sunday at 3 p.m. And so we're looking forward to the challenge, and I've been really proud of the growth from that group.
Chris Shula said that the best piece of advice he got after his promotion was Jason Garrett reminding him that you hired him to be himself. When you think of that, what was it that you hired Chris to do?
Great coach, great connector, great ability to be able to have emotional intelligence in terms of how do you communicate, how do you lead, how do you work alongside your coaching staff, how do you get the buy-in, how do you represent the flexibility and the agility to get the most out of our players. And so I think all of those things have been on display. He earned it. He's a great leader. He's a great coach. I think sometimes when he ended up getting the job, because of how close we are relationship-wise, people just assume that's why. But those that have been around him and those that understand his body of work, they know that this has been earned. He's coached on all three levels of the defense. And you guys know from getting to know him this year, he's just got a great way about himself. He's an excellent coach, excellent communicator, great person. I think that's super important. And, the best coaches get the most out of guys, and they make them, where they're inspired to want to try to play for Chris and for the right reasons. And I think he's done an excellent job of bringing that to life.
A couple more about Barkley and stopping him.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, what's kind of the main threat?
He's a stud. I mean, you look at it, Gary, especially playing them this year and then last year, he's a real threat to be able to beat you with his arm or his legs. I think they're doing an excellent job. And he knows how to play winning football. He's taking great care of the football. He's obviously a threat to be able to pull it down, whether that's a designed run or whether those are off-schedule things if the rush integrity isn't on point. That's why they're so difficult to defend. They're as good as it gets up front. They're incredibly well coached. They've got skill position weapons all over the place. And then they've got a quarterback that can beat you with his arm or his legs. And then Saquon's obviously doing some really special things, even for his standards that he's set over the course of his career. And so that's why these guys are who they are. And, I got a lot of respect for Jalen and the competitor that he is. And it's going to be a great challenge.
If there is snow, I know you guys said it can't be colder than it was in New York. But
do you think it can be?
I'll be at the press.
That's good. Can I come up there with you?
What do you feel like you guys are well suited? If it is a game in the snow, do you think that you guys are well suited to play?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that. I think we're well suited to go play at our best at 3 p.m. in Philadelphia, whatever the elements are. And we have to be able to adjust and adapt accordingly. What I talked about that I think is really important, Gary, is, okay, what do those conditions mean in terms of affecting the style of play or the way that the game unfolds? Is it a footing issue? Is it a ball handling issue? And then we have to be able to adjust and adapt accordingly. But once you're out there, I want these guys being totally immersed in the moment. I do think it's at least helpful having played in a really cold atmosphere and environment. Now, you start talking about, okay, that compared to what San Francisco was, even though it wasn't quite as cold, but the inclements, those force you to adjust and adapt. So we've got contingency plans accordingly. We can't simulate what that weather is like out here, but that's not going to be an excuse for us to not be locked in. So that's the way we're approaching it.
Coach, does that fall under the we're built for this?
I think it does, and really I think it's a choice. It's when you look at it, it's a mindset that you make, in terms of, hey, I'm going to worry about the things that I can control. I'm going to make sure that if I'm not out there on the field, I'm staying warm and doing the things necessary, and that's where Berg and his group do an excellent job. And then when I'm out there, I'm cutting it loose, and then it's our job to be able to say, okay, if we need to adjust and adapt based on what that weather means for how the game is played out, then we've got to do our part as well.